Okay, sorry, I'm on here again. Hang on, the light here. Okay, where do I even start? I was just watching TV, because I don't have cable, but just was watching off YouTube, and it was like a YouTube commercial, and it was talking about this medication for kids, and they were showing like little kids on there. So it's called SupprelinLa. So it's basically a puberty blocker to block the kids, I guess, when they're doing transition, whether if they want to change their identity. So I checked on their website, and dude, so disturbing. I'm just gonna read what the signs here, and then the Lord was giving me brought to my remembrance about my brother. He didn't go through this, but I'm gonna tell you what the doctor said when he had his accident. So I'm just gonna read it. Don't mind the lighting. I just got a big light here. I'm in the basement, so then nobody hears me. So I'm just gonna read it, and it says, let's see, hang on. So people taking the Supprelin, have had a new or worsening mental psychiatric problems, including depression. Mental psychiatric problems may include emotional symptoms such as crying, irritability, restlessness, impatience, anger, and acting aggressive. Before a child receives this medication, history of mental problems. So obviously it's going to make your child worse, for starters. It had seizures. The risk of seizures may be higher in people who have a history of seizures, epilepsy, brain or a brain vessel, cerebrovascular problems, or tumors, or who are taking medication that has been connected to seizures, such as bupropion or selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Seizures have also happened in people who have not had any of these problems. And then it just says to talk to your doctor. And then it says, this is the part that got me. Increased pressure in the fluid around the brain can happen in children while taking this medication. So, also, following symptoms during the treatment of headaches, eye problems, including blurred vision, double vision, and in decreased eyesight, eye pain, ringing in the ears, dizziness, and nausea. So what really got me was, it says increase pressured fluid around the brain. Okay, so I'm going to talk about my brother for a moment. My brother and I were 11 months apart when he was actually 11 months younger than I was. So we were the same age for 1 month. Anyways, before his 18th birthday, some kids pushed him 3 stories and dragged his body, whatever, basically left him for dead, dragged him and stuck him in a closet. Just things happen. He suffered from seizures and stuff. And they basically dragged him down the stairs, where this apartment building was, and called the cops and the ambulance, and just said his name was Francis, and they didn't know who he was, which was a lie. So basically, they left him for dead. My brother was actually missing for 3 days, I think, and at that time I smoked a lot of weed. I was still young myself. I just had my first son, and I remember that day very, very well. And I was actually pretty stoned that day, and my mom calls me and said that we found my brother, because he was missing for 3 days. And I walked over to the hospital, and I seen him tied up in the bed with blood all over himself, having seizuring, and he was having convulsions. I broke down. That was my most devastating thing I've ever seen, especially he's your little brother that happened. I'm healed from it. But anyways, so basically he went into a coma for 6 months, and they wanted to pull the plug. My mom said no, and they just wanted to let him go. So basically, my mom kept saying no, and he eventually woke up. Now, when he woke up, he was mush, okay? The doctor said he had fluid around the brain, that he was only going to live 6 months. But he ended up pushing 11 years and then committed suicide. But I'm telling you, in that 11 years that I watched him, He suffered every single day. I watched him. He'd had bald spots on his head. He'd fall asleep with food. His brain would be like mentally gone. He just was losing his mind. Like, it was the hardest thing that I ever watched my brother suffer through it for 11 years. And my mom was not well. She was very mentally ill, so I could just imagine the stuff that I had to go through, watching my little brother go through that every single day. So my point is, and what I'm getting to, is that this thing that they're putting on the children, I can say that, if you're an adult, you choose these things, but not the children. This is what Satan's going after, is the children. And it just makes me sick to my stomach what they are doing with this hormonal therapy, wanting to give children, and on the bottom of the page it says for 2 years old and up. So they don't recommend it. It says right here, it is not known for this, blah, 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 this brand is safe and effective in children under the age of 2. So they're doing it from 2 years and up. They're going to kill the children. Brain injury, fluid around the brain. My brother was 18. He was older. So if that didn't happen, he would have died, because what the doctor said specifically to my mom was that the fluid around the brain will just shrink the brain, and then he will have no oxygen to the brain and he'll just die. And that's exactly what the doctor said. So I'm just here to just talk about the truth, I just feel like I need to share this. But yeah, this is just something that we need to stand up and not be afraid to speak the truth and fight for what is right. Don't let Satan go after the kids. There's nothing wrong with standing up for your kids. But I needed to share this, or else I'm not going to sleep tonight. So bye for now, you guys, okay? Bye. Shalom.